Hey there! Today I would like to talk about an accessory that is very useful when you use fountain pens a lot, as I do. Especially if you like broader nibs that lay down a lot of ink, as I do, then this may be a very useful accessory that you may consider buying. And I'm talking about a rocker blotter, which looks like this. It looks like a fairly weird bit of equipment, but it is extremely useful. So pretty much what this does is it holds a sheet of blotting paper, so that when you write and the ink is wet, you take this, put it on the paper, rock it like this, and excess ink will be sucked up into the paper. And that way you will not wipe out or smear the ink as it is still wet. So I'll show you how to use that in a minute. But for now, let's have a short look at the specific parts a rocker blotter consists of. So first of all, of course, at some point the paper will be very dirty and stained, as is this one, which actually has a very nice coloring, I think. But at some point it will be so dirty and it will have absorbed so much ink that if you use it, it will actually stain the paper. And of course, at that moment you would like to be able to change the paper. Well, that is very easy. Usually, at least with this one, you can unscrew the handle like this, take it off, and you have this nice little bit of wood. You can just take that off, and as you can see, the blotting paper is held in place like this. So you can take it off, and then you can just turn it around. Now this paper, I've already used the other side, so at some point I may wish to change this. For that you can buy, this one is made by Herbin. You also have bigger ones. This one is not that big. There are some antique ones actually, which are a lot bigger, you know, from back in the day when people used dip pens that were very wet. You can buy these packages of paper from Herbin, which is blotting paper, which is already cut to size. So you get 10 sheets of this blotting paper. They're already cut to size. So you just put it on your blotter. Whoops! There goes the paper. Fold the edges like that, and then you screw the whole thing together again. Now, something else you can do is that Herbin also makes blotting paper in bigger sheets, and you use them slightly differently. Usually what people do is to put their finger in one corner and put it on the paper and just let it go, and then you softly wipe it like this, and again it will suck up ink. Now, it doesn't make much sense with a sheet this size, but with, you know, bigger sheets, that would be useful. Of course, you can also cut those bigger sheets to size and put them into your blotter, which is, I think, a bit more economical, but I was able to pick this up for a couple of euros, so I don't care that much, and it actually lasts a while, this paper. So I screw it back together, and that's pretty much it. So, of course, you can use blotting paper. I always think this is a bit nicer to use. It's a bit easier because, you know, you just move it. I think that's fairly useful. This wasn't even that expensive. Yeah, you've got some nice brands, modern brands that make them, and they are much more expensive. So this is not a bad buy. I think you can buy these from gouletpens.com, and there's other sources. La Couronne du Comte, one of my favorite shops in the Netherlands, sells it. So these things are pretty widely available. If you don't have one, you do a lot of writing, and especially if you like wet inks or broad nibs, this is a very nice investment. So I'll show you how it works next, and that's it. So I hope this was useful, and I'll see you later. Bye bye. Okay, using a rocker blotter. Now, if you use pens like this, which are fairly fine, then with the right paper, you'll probably find that your ink dries fairly quickly. You see there's a little bit of smear there, see that? But, you know, generally that dries fairly quickly. Now, if you use a wetter pen, like this Delta Dolce Vita oversize, which is an eyedropper, and you use that to write something, then you can be pretty sure that the ink is very wet. Now, you can simply use your rocker blotter like this, and then your ink should be dry. See that? It's pretty dry. There's still a little bit of smearing, but it is fairly dry. If you use other pens, like this Pelikan M205 Duo, which has a double broad nib, then you can be pretty sure, I'm not going to stain my fingers all the time, that this is really wet. Use your blotter, and it's dry. So that's the use of a rocker blotter. Now I'll open it for just a second. Okay, so another technique. This is not going to work. I have to take a new sheet of paper because this one is crooked. Okay, here we have a new sheet of paper. Something else that you could do, whatever, let's use the Ahab. Okay, something else you could do is simply use a sheet of blotting paper, hold one corner, drop it, gently rub it, take it off. Ahoy is over there, and this is dry. Fairly. Pretty. Kind of. Now the reason I did this is that it's of course this is really wet, so you still have to be careful. In any case, let me show you once again the merits of the blotter. Because using a blotter, although it's fairly easy, there are some tricks that I've found. One problem is that if you have a very nice, rich ink, and you blot that aggressively, so here we have nice blue ink, you blot that very aggressively, I'm really applying a lot of pressure now, then of course a lot of the ink will end up on your blotting paper, but the ink will lose some of its color. So what you can also do, and this is a bit of a weird technique to use, but it works, is to write something, take your blotter, and slowly just let it go. Like that. That way you don't apply that much pressure, and I always have the feeling that sucks up a little less ink. The ink will still be dry, but it will not lose its color as much as when you really apply a lot of force. You see the difference? This is much blander and bleaker than this is. So that's something you may want to use. Now of course, if you do this, if you would do this at work, and you just let go of your blotter, don't hold it too highly because then it will slide, it may actually rub out your ink. Just like this. Your colleague's going to think you're crazy, but, well, whatever. In any case, I think it does work. So, here we go with the rocker blotter. I think this is a very useful accessory, and I can highly recommend you to get one. And that's it. So, let's do this with the Ahab. I hope this was useful. I thank you, and bye-bye. Oh yeah, you see that? Oh yeah, that's something else I should tell you. Okay, not bye-bye, hang in there. If you use a lot of ink, like a lot of ink, because you use a B nib, and you use a lot of force with your blotter, then you're screwed. Because you're going to wipe, you're really going to smear the ink. You don't see it that well right there, but this really is a risk. You see that? Now I was rubbing it a bit like that because I was cheating, but I just wanted to make the point. You see it really well there. So be careful, because if you push down too hard, you're going to smear your ink without doubt. So you really have to, it's a light motion. You see this? I'm just using my index finger to rock it. I'm not really jamming it into the paper, because that's going to cause this. So, just so you know, be a little careful, and then your life could be a lot more easy with a blotter. So again, I say thank you. and this time I'll really see you later. Bye bye.